Today we're answering this question. So for clients who cannot see scenes, and this is from someone who uses hypnosis for their clients, for clients who can't see scenes or go through inner child techniques, or any sort of things that help them retrieve the past, what do you do with them? And I gave them a relaxation audio before our session so that they become accustomed to my voice and that they relax, but still within the session, they couldn't see scenes or didn't really have an effect during the session when it came to these techniques. What do you do with these types of clients? And so this is very, very interesting. And this is a great question, right? Because I was also trained in a traditional modality, a hypnosis modality, where techniques like these, similar to these, were used. And truth be told, the limitations with techniques is that it won't work for each and every person. Unfortunately, fact is techniques won't work for everyone. Even if you have 5 to 10 techniques in your belt, unfortunately, you may have that one client or a few clients who just won't do well with any of those techniques because it is not their way to solve their own problem. And I'm going to repeat that again. It's not their way to solve their problem. The technique or techniques you have used is highly likely not aligned with how their own mind solves their own problems or works through their problems. And this is a very important concept that I teach in the advanced conversational hypnosis training, where techniques have limitations because it won't work for everyone. It's kind of like putting a square hole in a round peg, right? If the if the hole was square, and you're trying to put something round in there, it may fit or it may not, right? You can force that shit in, but it won't work as well as if you actually took a square hole and a square peg and then like placed it together. That would be better, right? And so, one of the reasons why the it may not have worked for your clients is because relaxation is just not the way they solve the problem, right? Going through inner child or going forcefully into scenes is just not their way of solving their problem. And this could have like many different reasons, right? The first conclusion could be that, they have PTSD or complex PTSD, making them hypervigilant. So therefore, they don't want to revisit those scenes. That's a very logical conclusion, but again, we won't know that 100% for sure until you go into the session. So how do you, as a hypnotist or a coach that uses things like hypnosis or NLP, and you're using these types of techniques, how do you set yourself and your clients up for success so that you don't waste your time and their time by having another session, having them listen to an audio for, I don't know, 1 to 2 weeks when in the session it actually didn't work, and having them come back? That's just a lot of back and forth. And to be quite honest, quite a frustrating experience for your client as well, right? Because they paid you because they want their problem solved, and now you're going kind of back and forth based on the things that aren't working for them. It's not really the best client experience, right? And so, when this is something to think about, like, what do you do when you have these techniques? You have techniques in your toolkit that really aren't working for your client. Well, what you can do is definitely figure out what does work for your client, right? And this starts with your discovery call or strategy call or sales call, whatever you want to call it. The first time you meet the client and talk to them about working together, you could start that conversation there. Ask them, you can have a good sense as to what your client is going to be just based on a conversation. You can kind of tell what kind of person they are, right? If they are someone who talks a lot, and based on the language that they use when they talk to you the first time, you can kind of tell. You can actually do a lot of work within that strategy call or that sales call, right then and there with your client, because you as the coach, you're getting to know that client. And this can have a tremendous impact towards your client, because then you'll get to know what would work best for them. Because the thing is, if you have a technique, if you're just used to being rigid and using those techniques, what happens in the sessions when it's not working is that you go into this mini panic mode, right? How can you not? Like, there's nothing wrong with you. Anyone in that position would get nervous and a little bit panicked when that happens. But the thing is, when your techniques don't work, go back to the basics. Really go back to the basics. Have a conversation with your client about the problem, instead of, say your client comes to you because they want to get over it or heal from a nasty breakup or a nasty divorce, right? They come to you regarding that, and then maybe or maybe not, the old relationship was a toxic relationship, and maybe that client isn't going to scenes because of the things that that are too painful for them to see during the past when they had that relationship. And so for you, as the coach and as the hypnotist, how can you create the safety within your clients so you can start just having a conversation with them, how to start trust, and start establishing that trust? Because if a client consciously and unconsciously doesn't trust you, it doesn't matter how good your techniques are, it doesn't matter how good you are. If that base level or layer of trust, and safety within your clients isn't there, then the best techniques won't work, right? And so doing that and establishing that trust and safety from the very first time you meet them during your sales call is going to be crucial, for anything, because it is not just your relaxation voice or your relaxation recording that establishes the trust. How you show up within your sessions is going to also affect how your clients trust you. And also, that's why, as a coach or a therapist, you really need to look inwards and see where your triggers are, right? Because your clients can unconsciously feel that. So a lot of layers here. And really, the long the short, like the long story short, right? If those techniques don't work, go back to the very basics. Have a conversation with your client and get to know them and really listen to them. Listen to them. This is the biggest thing. Listen to your client. What not listening looks like, there is a script. This is a technique. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to ask them about their inner child. I'm supposed to ask them about the memories. I'm supposed to like two things together for them. When you start doing that, you're taking away your time and your energy listening to the clients. And it's by listening to the clients and having that initial conversation is how you're going to establish the trust and safety within your clients, so that the techniques that you want to use are going to work. Because without that baseline safety and trust, there will not be technique or any technique that'll like that will work. So start with the principle of going back to the basics, listening to your client, have that conversation with your client, and then, if need be, go through the regular techniques to help them establish safety within them. And this is a skill set. Obviously, this is a skill set that can always improve over time and will evolve over time for you. But this is one thing that you really want to consider when you find that you're attracting those types of clients or getting them frequently. Let me know if you have any questions or any comments. I would love to talk to you about them and have a conversation about them with you. Otherwise, I will see you soon.